right, so welcome to episode 7 of the Dynast-Eh Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm your host, Riley, and I'm joined today. We got a new crowd today. We got Brant here. How's it going, Brant? Mr. Mayfield of Dreams. I'm assuming that's what the mod on your...
It is, yeah. That's what MFL has it as. So I
I
thought,
was
why not?
super confused when you were in the waiting room and it said mod. I was like, what is there a moderator now for Zoom that just like comes and like observes you? So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's me.
thanks for really confusing me and scaring me that someone snuck into our chat. We also got Luke back again. So our two regulars. How's it going, Luke?
Yeah, good to be here. I thought maybe the mod, maybe like we've gotten so big that we needed a moderator, and there's so many discussions in our group chat that maybe we needed a moderator into the
maybe I hired someone, just hired an assistant to just rein in.
Yeah,
that's actually that's fair. Well, I didn't. So I guess unless Brant, you want to take over that role, that would be fine. I'd love to have you do that.
Sure, I'll keep the peace around here. Yeah, no problem.
Sounds good. And then finally, we have a special guest today. So Dan couldn't join us this week, but so we got probably the next best thing. We got JP here. I think I don't know. I think he's been wanting to do this for a while. He's definitely earned his spot. He's made the most trades. He's the center of attention recently. So definitely had to have JP on to round out the crew today. How's it going, JP?
Good. What is this, episode 7?
Yeah, didn't you just listen? I just said that.
I'm pretty sure you guys had an episode where there were like 6 of you guys, and I still didn't get invited.
There was never 6. It's all.
glad to
wait, no, it was
cut
5.
today. I think there was 5. I think Joel was in there at one point,
but Joel's won a championship, JP.
And how many? Yeah, I'm not gonna trip you yet. I'll wait till after.
I know what you were gonna say. How many have you won? And the answer is 0.
Well, I was gonna say playoff games, but
I haven't won any of those either. But and now this year, who knows? I mean, shit, I might not even make the playoffs this year now. So, anyways, we'll get to that later. Okay, so I think the agenda for today should be a quicker episode. We don't have Dan on, so there's not going to be nearly as much analysis going on here. It'll be probably a little more freewheeling, should be a little quicker, but we'll see. You never know. Maybe JP's done a lot of homework. I don't know. We'll see.
JP, do you have any graphs or anything that you want us to display here?
Yeah, I was thinking about popping some stuff up on the screen, but we'll see if I can get it to work.
Yeah, I mean, I know you're new to Zoom, so if you don't know the shared screen button, we'll get our tech guy on it. But just let me know. But yeah, probably no graphs today. Probably no cool trivia. I mean, honestly, I'm just gonna stop talking because now everyone's just gonna stop watching the video. But no, it still should be a good episode. We'll go through some trades. We'll do everybody's favorite segment, the power rankings. You can see where your team lands on those, and then yeah, I don't know. We'll see at the end if there's anything that comes out that we want to talk about. But why don't we just get started? I'm going to pull up the latest trades since our last episode. There's been quite a few, and just before the show, we were looking through it, and it's mostly the guys on this on the call today. So it worked out well. Getting JP on really helped us because I don't know, he's made a lot of trades, so there'll be a lot of good stuff to go through. I wanted to start by just asking around if there's anybody that has any trades that kind of stood out to them, maybe that were a little lopsided or you didn't quite understand, and we can just start there instead of just like running through the whole list. Anybody have anything they want to flag?
Hey, could you get that meeting is being recorded thing, or is this what I have? Oh shit, that's me. Sorry.
You have to push OK, Brent.
You just have to click your mouse and.
I was like, oh wait, did I do something wrong? But no, it was just Brent didn't click the mouse. Okay, so we got cricket so far, so maybe I'll go first. So I want to start with these two trades, the ones Danny made. I just didn't quite understand them. Maybe one day Danny will have you on the show and you can explain your thought process. But I didn't quite get the swapping of picks, specifically with Dan. So Danny gave up his 22 first and his 22 second and basically just swapped with Dan. So got Dan's 23 first, Dan's 23 second, and then also got a 3rd round pick just thrown in there, I guess, because I don't know, Dan was feeling nice or feeling generous because Danny's getting the later picks. To me, this made like very little sense because I think, and I could be wrong, but I'm probably not wrong, Dan's 23 first is not going to be a good first round pick. Like Dan has so many I know JP's been pissed off about this. Like Dan has all the first round picks, right? There's no way Dan doesn't make his team a heck of a lot better even than it is currently, and it's already not that bad. Next year, like there's almost no chance I don't think that Dan doesn't make the playoffs next year. Does anybody like? Am I completely wrong here, or did this make sense to anybody here, or was it just me?
I can't remember. I know like Dan had in some way had said some rationale in the chat for, it was prior to the trade happening, but he had some rationale for why it made sense for everyone, but I can't recall. Is it because then was it a tanking thing? Was that the reason? Like, was that his rationale? Yeah. Okay.
But now
I think
JP
so.
Gonna get JP has clearly well, shit, I shouldn't spoil it because there is a whole power rankings thing, but I'm pretty sure JP's a head favorite for the.
I guess the one thing that I would say, like if I wanted to play devil's advocate to say, well, maybe, I have done very little research into draft classes because I've never drafted or never had picks to draft players. But does Danny know something that we don't, that the 23 class is, he wants out of the 2022 class and wants to get into the 2023 class, regardless of where those picks are going to fall? I don't know. I guess that would be the only thing that I could see on top of what Dan already sort of, to me, Dan was maybe trying to justify it a little bit in the chat, saying that this is why it makes sense. But from Danny's perspective, maybe he just feels that the 23 class, from what he sees right now, is going to be a hell of a lot better.
And so supposedly it is. Like, that's what I've heard. Like, supposedly there's no running backs this year, so that's what I've heard. But yeah, so the picks aren't going to be high. So, but at the same time, with this new playoff system we have, Danny's first round pick could be 6. So this year, so it might not be that big of a difference.
Yeah, JP swooped in and made his team so bad that, like, I don't know, like JP.
Okay, well, to start off with Dan on this trade, like, he was trying to get me to do something similar, and I just didn't like the feel of it. And I have heard that the 23 class is supposed to be better than the 22 class as well. But what's the difference between if you get the 4th pick here or the 11th next year? I imagine those players are going to be, you're likely going to get better on the 4th this year than the 11th next year. But what do I know? I just didn't like the feel of it. Obviously, Dan was concerned with 3 teams in our division not being good at all. And up until 2 weeks ago, I thought that if the 2 worst teams got to play in the toilet bowl game, I didn't realize it was one from each division. So I had to beat out 2 other teams, right? And that's
because you've never been in that position, JP. You've never had to deal with those kind of nuances of the league, right?
It's a changing time here. I'm usually fighting to get in, or I think I got 3rd once a couple of years ago, but
you won, didn't you get 3rd?
I got 3rd 3 years ago, 2 years ago. No, not last year. Maybe 2 years ago.
Transferred you money at some point.
And I gave it right back.
You just hand it right back. But yeah, no, okay. That, it makes sense then that if the class is better. I didn't realize that. I don't really have many picks next year.
That being said, though, like, Dan could turn it around right now if he wanted to.
He will turn it around.
He could make the playoffs in our division right now if he wanted to.
Yeah. Save that take, because I think we probably all agree on that. Okay. Does anybody else have anything that stood out to them that they wanted to bring up? If not, I'm going to move on to talking about all JP's moves.
Start off with the big one first there. That was
What's the big one, JP? Well, where do you want to start? You tell us where you want to start.
I guess at the beginning of the season, where the trade with Dan there for all those players.
Well, what about my trade with you? That's the first one.
Oh, I kind of forgot about that one, to be honest with you. So I was fortunate enough to get Josh Allen last year from Luke. Gave him Russell Wilson, I think, kind of straight up, wasn't it? I think it was straight up.
Close, yeah.
Yeah. And turns out Josh Allen finished the season better than Wilson last year, and he looks like a stud. But now Wilson's out for the first time in his career too, so it's kind of a tough break there. But yeah, obviously I made the decision. It was around that time I made that trade for Allen to Riley that I was in talks with Dan and trying to get this other trade done before I committed to getting rid of Allen and saying I'm not trying to win this year, right? So I think it was a decent trade on my part. Tyson Williams ended up turning into, I got 2/3 for Tyson Williams a few weeks after that when Dobbins went down and Gus Edwards.
Well,
So,
Dobbins was down at this point, but
okay, yeah,
Edwards wasn't. So I like remember in the trade, the trade was really Burrows in the first round.
Yeah.
I was like, look, I need to drop a guy. I'll toss you in Tyson Williams.
right, yeah.
And then Edwards went down like almost right after that.
Yeah, so I was able to anyway, so let's keep talking about this trade, sorry, but obviously it helps. Riley, like, who was your other quarterback before this?
I had Brady and Rodgers. After this, I traded Brady. So
Well, Allen's gonna be your guy for
Yeah.
as long as you want him to be, right? Like he's good for sure. And but yeah, I think it was good for you and good for me as I made that decision to pull the trigger. I don't know if Joe Burrow is ever going to turn into a strong QB1. Maybe not. Maybe it just depends on how things go there in Cincy.
I don't know. I think it's pretty fair. I thought getting a first round pick and a good quarter, and then the fact that you were able to turn Tyson into 2/3, like obviously I think you did really well. I would still do
I think the Tyson aspect, that's just got to be karma from the old Chris Thompson deal back in the day, right? Like that's just good karma coming to JP for.
It took Thompson
that.
off Riley and he broke his leg 2 weeks later.
For like a first round. Yeah, that was.
Yeah, it was definitely a first rounder.
So JP just got his good juju back there. That's all that was.
It's funny. I look back at, we talk about the value of these third round picks and second round picks. And I've gone back through the past 4 or 5 years that we've done drafts. In the third round, maybe one out of those 12 guys are panning into a good player for your team, right? So it's not like you're just taking shots in the dark basically on these guys. So
yeah, the odd time you'll hit, especially maybe on a QB, or like I got Terry McLaurin at like 2.7. I got Antonio Gibson.
I think Antonio
like
was 3, right? Or was Antonio 3 or something like that? Yeah, exactly.
But you're right. Like by and large, you miss, but when you do hit, like it feels really sweet.
Like when you turn James Robinson into a first round pick, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, when you pick up a guy off waivers and get a first round pick, that feels really nice.
For sure.
I tried to do that with Damian Williams, not get a first, but I thought Paul would do it, but he just wouldn't. Tried to get a second, but
some guys don't like to trade though, right? Like that. I feel like
but then Paul turned around and traded with someone. So.
No, I know, but that surprised me too.
You traded with Paul. Okay, we got to go here because nobody has been able to trade with Paul. So just tell us how you were able to get Paul to trade, JP.
Is he not a Baltimore fan? Is that what's going on
Bears
there?
fan.
Bears fan.
Bears fan.
I talked to him a few times about Marquise, and then there was the game before this trade. He had a good game. And this past week, he's had a really good game as well. He's a QB or a wide receiver 1 right now. And I don't see that changing unless Bateman pulls into his target share there. But he's only getting 5-6 targets a game, but he keeps breaking that one off for 70 yards. And that other week, he dropped 2 60-yard touchdowns. And, so he's good, but I don't know how I got him to trade. He saw Brown doing well. And I was like, you know what, I'll throw in Murray as well. I said, are you willing to get rid of DJ Chark? He said, yeah. I was like, okay, sweet. Like, I think he's got some potential. And again, at this time, I'm trying not to win. So getting Marquise Brown off my roster was something I wanted to do for a while, but didn't really get much traction. And then I even threw in a little extra there. So chances of him making the finals this year are probably 10%, 5%.
Yeah.
But yeah, whatever. Well, extra insurance in case.
Just remember with that, just don't expect me to remember that. So like if that happens,
it's in the back of my head.
Yeah, you got it. Because I probably won't.
What do you guys think of that trade? Like I made the trade, so what do you guys think of these trades?
Well, no brainer for Paul. Getting a guy that's producing and a depth running back.
Well, and DJ Chark just gotten injured, right? He just got put on the IR. Is that correct?
Broke his
2 weeks
ankle,
ago.
so he's out for like 2 months at least, probably.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So yeah, I thought it I don't know. I thought it good for Paul to pull the trigger and recognize that. This is the time that he's got to walk into the playoffs as long as he just keeps an active roster that's serviceable.
Full
and
roster.
he got, I think, like it's a reasonably fair value on both sides. So I don't think I think it was a good deal that made sense for most people.
Marquise Brown broke my heart last year. I think I needed 10 points out of him or something to get a win. It was a rainy night and he got like 2 points or something like that. That was the night actually Luke was like, I'll trade you Thielen for Marquise Brown right now or something like that. And it's just, heartbreaking. So yeah, so that's kind of.
I think you did really good, JP. I mean, I think it makes sense for Paul, but like,
Yep.
I think Bateman's going to be, in theory, Bateman's their best receiver. I think if everything pans out with him, like he's a more prototypical like
Yeah.
wide receiver.
But if Marquise still gets, and I don't know how he gets it, but he's once or twice a game, he's open down the field and Lamar can hit him. So
those two dropped. You tried to trade me Marquise a bunch of times, but the fact that he dropped those two like just dead easy balls, I was like, oh no, I'm not.
yeah, but he's still a wide receiver. What is he, like 10 or 11 right now? Like he's
I know,
solid year.
But he's super high variance. He's like Tyler Lockett, same type of thing. It's just like you
5 weeks through though, when he's
points, and then you'll get
steady.
5 points, and
For
those
sure.
guys are hard to trust in the playoffs. I don't know.
Tyreek Hill.
Sour on those.
Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek
Yeah,
Hill
well,
has more target volume, but yeah, still,
Yeah.
you still have a bit of that.
everybody has a downside, right? Like you look at DK Metcalf last year, right? If it was Lockett's game, it wasn't Metcalf's, and it just seemed to go back and forth like that. And it's tough to get steady, consistent receivers.
Yeah. Okay, let's go to away from JP for a second here. I mean, we have a trade between two other people on this, and I don't think we only need to dwell on this long. But man, Brant, you got just raked over the
hosed.
coals here.
Hosed.
I mean, so Luke texted me or whatever, messaged me saying, "Hey,"
Did you
need
accidentally
another
push
running back.
accept instead of decline? Or?
but I basically was like, yes, and I didn't even realize that Brown had COVID that week, but I still would have been yes because
Well, and it happened like as we were texting, like I sent the text and then I clicked on Brown and it's like, he has COVID. And I'm like, shit, I just told him that I would trade him. And I was like, okay, just wait, Brant. I don't know if I'll do it.
But yeah, I mean, I needed a running back, and James White actually was off to a really good start.
Mhm.
Oh man, and of course breaks his hip literally like one of the first plays of the game, the next
Yeah.
game. But
Did you start him? Like,
no, I didn't start him. I don't even remember who I started that week. But anyways, no, McCaffrey played the Thursday, and then I think Luke messaged me
Yes.
maybe on Friday or something. That's what it was. Yeah.
But like Brant literally had he had 2 running backs on his roster. Like he had Eckler and McCaffrey. And I just said, like, look, you have this laundry list of wide receivers. At the time, I mean, yeah, it's 3 weeks in or 2, whatever. Yeah, 3 weeks in. James White is doing what he's done in historical years of, I mean, getting the targets, and Mac Jones seems to be the check down king. I don't think he's thrown a pass longer than 5 yards this year. So it was working out in James White's favor, but obviously then whether it was that game or the next game,
it was that game.
it's a season ending
Yeah.
injury.
James White's like 31, isn't he? Something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, well, Antonio Brown's 34, so
Yeah, wide receiver 1 here. Let's go.
yeah. I
And
think that's what I had
Antonio
texted
Brown
Brad. I
wasn't
said,
he-
why don't we just trade a couple of old guys for one another?
Crafts and giggles. Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
Antonio Brown, he's
Oh,
been crazy, but he's only playing 40% of the snaps. Like Mike
Yeah.
Evans and Godwin play like,
Yeah, but he's still getting 10
I know he is.
targets a game.
I know. I just like, it's just weird. It's strange though. It is.
I have
Well,
Godwin. in a
nobody
few
covers
other
him
leagues.
because everyone's covering the other two, so no one covers him. That's why.
Yeah, that's true. And he's still
Yeah, it was
obviously good. Like he was like one of like the greatest receivers of all time at one point. So he's still good.
Brady's keeping his head on straight for him, I guess.
Yeah. I
Yep.
guess so I heard the Arians didn't even really want Brown. They were saying, I think it was just Tom that wanted him because
Yeah.
Well, moved in with Tom.
did he
Very-
actually? See, there you go.
Yeah.
Tom's keeping him in line. That's good.
I
And you
mean,
guys
I
trying-
don't think he's living with Tom anymore, but when he came last year, he was living with Tom.
You guys all give me a hard time when I try saying Brown's going to be a good receiver this year. Just trying to put up rainbows for all my guys trying to sell them. So
Okay, let's talk about your
But
big.
JP,
That's the big one.
which ones are?
Your big trade, like with Dan, James
yeah.
Robinson,
Okay.
Miles Sanders, Michael Gallup, Deontay Johnson.
Let's see what you guys think of this before I get into it. There's just
Brent, I'll let you go.
a couple minutes on it.
well, I know that because Dan was trying to acquire James Robinson, and then he was trying to trade him to me. So Dan was texting me, and then JP texted me saying, "Hey, what was Dan saying about James Robinson?" So,
Yeah, I was in all the, I
anyways,
was same
we kind of-
thing, Brad.
I
I
knew
was
this
in these
too.
three-way
I knew this
chats and I
too.
was like, what the hell's going on? He's not even on your roster.
And Dan,
So
was
we were
like,
all
"I need
trying to
to
match
facilitate the
what
three-way
the
trade."
offers
I'm like,
were.
"What are you doing?" It's so
Yeah.
Dan's a walking, talking salesman, no matter what, that guy, I swear. And it wasn't just you. I'm pretty sure I had one of the other guys in the league was a part of a three-way talk as well. I was like, geez Louise.
Well, it was you, Dan, and Sean, and then
Yeah,
all of a sudden,
Sean.
and then when I got Dobbins, and I started talking to Danny about Dobbins, and he was like, "Well, I was just in another talk about Dobbins." He's like, "You don't have Dobbins." I was like, "No, I just acquired him." What a shit show.
Yeah, it was. This was keep going, keep talking about it, and then I'll tell the story.
I mean, the backstory of how this was like Dan was, I was like, I told Dan, I was like, why wouldn't JP just trade those guys to those people? And Dan, I forget what his reason.
Well, I tried. I had tried. I think JP and I think we were close, right? With
I can't remember what it was.
But I think like the thing for JP, if I recall, what you had told me, JP was acquiring his own first, right? Like if he wanted to, that was the big sticking point for JP, and rightfully so, was getting his own 2022 first,
right.
with fully going into the rebuild, which totally makes sense.
And I had to make a commitment to the rebuild. If I was getting rid of one of those guys, it was all of them, because I didn't have the depth to, hold on. And basically Dan wasn't giving me my first for Robinson. It wouldn't be just a 1-for-1. It was all or nothing, basically. And he had all the leverage. He's got all the draft picks. It's tough to make trades with guys when you're looking for young pieces, and we all know Dan's not giving anybody a deal. So,
I'll just say my take, and then I'll let you go, because you got 1 first, 2 firsts, 3 firsts, and a second, and the 1 first was yours, which obviously had more value for like you. And then Tony, who I remember talking to you, and I said, get him to toss in Tony.
Well, he told me that you told him that it would be fair if he threw in Tony.
Well,
I'm pretty sure I had Dan agreeing to this trade 3 separate times before it actually got done. And he just kept changing it a little bit.
But I was like, Tony, I don't even think he's that good. But I was like, at least, like, who cares? He's a lottery ticket. And then look, the lottery ticket hit last week, and now Tony's like everybody's like sweetheart now. Like Tony's worth a first now. So like,
yeah.
Right. I don't know. Like for you to get for 3 firsts for those, like Deontay's probably worth a first, Sanders and Robinson 2 for, like, I don't know. I think you got is pretty good haul, especially now that your pick is going to be top 2.
Yeah. And I think that's the important thing, I think, is the fact that you have, like, one of the firsts that you've received is a first that you have some control over, right? Like it's a little different, I think, if 3 firsts for those 3 players as it stands right now. Well, yeah, you could argue it either way, but the fact that, I mean, your first is always going to be worth more than anyone else's first, because you have that much more control over it. So no, I think it makes sense. And I totally agree, JP, with what you said. I mean, when you have whatever he had, 8 or 9 of the firsts in the next year, I mean, he has the leverage there too, right? So
absolutely, yeah.
And he hasn't been able to trade James Robinson yet, and he's tried really
hard.
He's
got to be close though. Like James Robinson could be a league winner for someone this year. Like he just
asks he asks a lot though.
Yeah,
he wants a lot for him.
Anyway, so like at the time of this trade, like it was either in or out, right? This was either happening or it wasn't. I was in talk with Louis over the winter about trading some guys for those draft picks that he had in the last draft, but he kind of backed out on all that and said, I'm going into full rebuild mode here, which is whatever, fine. So I was talking with Dan about this for weeks. Like it was something that I had to pull the trigger on, and he had to also be on that as well. But he wasn't giving me just my first pack. It was the whole package kind of thing or nothing. Like at the time I thought, like last season, I was like, James Robinson's worth the first and the second, right? Like before they drafted ETN or whatever, how you pronounce it. And I thought Sanders is worth the first and the second, like, he's a good running back. And now we look at today, where these guys are on their teams, the way the season's played out. Sanders' value is tanked. Like he had 1 carry the other night in the first half. Like he's just not getting the ball. He's a good player, but he's just not in a good system. Maybe next year, I don't know, is his contract up soon? I'm sure his rookie contract's got to be up in the next year or 2.
They just got to start running the ball.
No one runs against Tampa though. Tampa's like,
but
like he looked good. On Thursday night, like running the ball, he looked good. And I mean, like, it's funny watching the game and hearing hearing the crowd, like anytime they hand off the ball, the crowd starts cheering. They're like, there's people in the crowd holding "run the ball" signs.
Yeah,
It's hilarious.
exactly.
But
It is, yeah. But he's a good player, but his value has tanked as well. It was a long, strenuous process to get this trade done. The trade was there. I thought we had a deal. Then it was like, oh, you got to give me a day to think about it. And I was like, well, are we doing this or not? Like, I can't stand when I have a deal and it's in front of me and I'm committed to it. And then someone's like, just give me, a couple hours or something to figure it out. And it's like, okay, I guess so. And then it becomes about, throw in Michael Gallup, throw in a third, and then I'll give you Tony. And then, it's just, it was a whole rigmarole, but I'm happy with what I got out of the deal. Tony just might be the extra piece that might do really well. And like I said, I'm sure you can get something good for Robinson here, but he's still got a hell of a team. And if he wants to win right now, he can.
Yeah.
Well, he can get the playoffs anyway.
He can make the playoffs.
Win, but yeah.
Yeah. No, I think you did as good as you could do in that situation.
Yeah. I didn't want to get rid of Johnson, but again, it was the package, right? And I was like,
yeah,
all right, in for a penny. So
well, Johnson's probably, you could argue Johnson and Sanders are probably they're pretty close probably. Sanders was probably worth a bit more at the time, but Johnson's probably the best piece that he got there.
Really. Right.
So
this year for sure, yeah.
Yeah, and Juju's going to be gone now for sure.
Yeah.
Like Juju's not going to be in Pittsburgh next year, or I don't think so. Like
maybe they'll get a quarterback that can throw too.
Yeah, Ben's brutal.
Okay,
Actually, I did. What?
No, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think the last big trade was really Luke. I didn't even realize this happened, but we should give you some time to chat about this one. Why did you do this? You just, I guess I like your players you got, but how did this one happen?
yeah, I think from my perspective, in terms of my starting wide receivers, having Thomas out to start the year, and I was pretty thin at wide receiver, and Sean needed the running back help as well. So, and Wilson also was a piece that was going to be helpful for him. Zeke has obviously, especially the last 3 weeks, has looked really good. I guess we'll see how it ends up shaking out. But it's one of those things that I don't know. Like a lot of my deals, I think that I've made recently, I look back on them and wish maybe I didn't make it at the time. But
you traded Dobbins for Sanders, then, right? Basically.
Yeah.
I guess I could look up, but
you already passed it.
It's basically straight. There's some. It's basically straight up, essentially.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But I guess Luke was listening to that and hearing how Pollard was supposed to be RB1 with Dallas there, so that's why he made that deal.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was like a Dan knows all, right? I gotta take exactly what this guy says and do exactly what he says. So
because Dan trashed Zeke. Pollard's been really good. He hasn't been wrong that Pollard's been good, but Zeke's been.
Well, that whole line is unbelievable on Dallas. They have 5 yards every time. It's just yeah.
JP, you could go run through that O line. I bet you were talking to me how you're playing in the Dando Bowl and your knee.
Yeah,
you still probably could run 5 yards behind that O line. I think, right?
Let's just say I can't move very good.
Okay,
I'm feeling about 51 right now, not 31.
You might get 4 or 3, but you'd get positive yardage probably.
No, I don't think I'd make one step forward after I tried to move. So.
Okay, I'm trying to look. There hasn't been any other I've been involved in a lot of small. I really kind of like this was good. I thought this was clever because I knew that Dan.
Are you telling yourself you're clever right now?
Well, just hear me out here. I haven't done a lot of good moves lately. I gave Joel Tom Brady, which has been the QB1, and I had to trade for Evan Ingram, God forbid, because the guy that I picked up as insurance, because I knew Kittle was going to get hurt, just happens to get hurt at the exact same time for the exact same duration. I knew Kittle was going to get hurt, but I was prepared. And then doesn't matter. So now I have to go just eat, literally texting every team, who's going to give me a tight end. I tried to trade for Mark, and I did so much, and I was so pissed off because everybody was oh no, like everyone is leading me on. You know,
You can
everyone's
call
like,
me-
oh yeah, maybe. And then I knew like JP, if I wanted to get Ingram, I knew I could get Ingram, but I'm like, I don't want to get Ingram. Like Ingram's trash. Like I don't need that.
I would say you
You
should
almost
check.
had Kelsey.
I know. I tried. Oh yeah, you led me on. Well, you didn't lead me on as
I
much.
didn't lead you on.
No, you didn't. It wasn't you. But like, yeah, I was waiting because Kelsey was first choice. Like maybe I can get Kelsey. Okay, no. Maybe I can get Hawkinson. Okay, no. Paul's just gonna ghost me. Okay, maybe I can get Mark Andrews. Danny's like, maybe, and then nope.
Yeah.
It was
It
just
didn't
good
matter
luck.
what you did last week anyway. Like,
Yeah, I know.
Joel put up 192. Like,
Oh, and Dalton Schultz. Louis said he would trade me Dalton Schultz. This was at like 8 o'clock at night before JP and I. Louis like, yeah, I'll trade you Dalton Schultz. I'm like, sweet. I offered, sent him a trade. Forget what it was for. It's probably for like a second or something. I don't know. Or maybe it was for Denzel Mims and something, probably, because I was just like, I'd rather do that. And Louis just doesn't respond. I'm like, hey, I need a tight end. I don't have anybody to start tomorrow. Like, so I'm like, fuck it, like whatever. Or I'll edit that out. We don't want to get banned on YouTube. I was like, KJP, it's like, let's trade. And then JP's like, well, I don't want Denzel Mims and Keyshawn. I'm like, come on, man.
I might have had a couple drinks to see the sore knee there. So
That's still, Mims has got way more upside than.
Oh yeah.
Well,
yeah,
I would not want to do this trade. I just needed to. So
Yeah.
you did good, JP. Don't worry. Anyway, that's my tight end dilemma. I won't even talk about how I thought I was so sneaky getting Logan Thomas. First
Well-
trading Hooper because I knew I could get Logan Thomas and getting basically the same draft capital that I would give up. So
go
basically,
back to the top
swapping-
of that screen for a second.
What?
Go back to the top of that screen for a second. Was there Elijah Mitchell for 3 draft picks? Did I see
Yeah,
that? Right?
that's crazy too. Who did that? Oh, that was Sean. And Sean's the guy chirping you about Tyson Williams that you did get in the. See, Sean would have gave you all this for Tyson Williams.
Should have
Yeah,
been more patient.
But Elijah Mitchell was like hot thing. I think in redraft I dropped like
For one day.
5% of my waiver bid on.
But he's the starter right now.
Is
Yeah.
Is he?
Yeah.
Yeah, but Jeff Wilson's waiting in the wings, boys. He's on my IR, just waiting.
They said week 12 or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That was gonna be my secret weapon, but okay, guess not. Yeah, that's a lot of picks for Mitchell, I think, but it's all Luke's picks, of course, because Sean and Luke only trade with each other.
Well, yeah, because everyone else just ghosts me. So it's like, well, I want to make deals. So
Okay. Any final thoughts? And then let's just go to power rankings. I think there's been a lot of good. Oh, okay. Phil got fleeced twice, and his team is still like dominating all of us. But Phil, like, I think got fleeced twice. Once by our very own JP, getting rid of Robbie, not only getting a pretty good prospect, but also getting a second. Like, I think you would take Amon Ross straight up for Robbie, like right now.
oh yeah.
Right now, but at the beginning of the season,
Oh
Robbie
yeah,
was-
but JP, I mean, I remember talking to JP about Anderson, and JP is talking about Anderson like he's a top 12 dynasty wide receiver. And I'm like,
If you listen to the
Forget
pod
it, forget
last
it.
episode, I was low on Robbie Anderson. I think you guys heard me say that.
You're a
Yeah,
Panthers
actually you
fan,
did,
too.
yeah.
Yeah, you're a Panthers fan.
I didn't think there was a reason he couldn't be a top 24 wide receiver, but apparently
There's
there
plenty
is.
of reasons.
There's a lot of- JP, you're using all those sales skills, from you're selling chemical and now you're just selling Robbie Anderson. It's
I don't know. That's the most moves I've ever made, and I did them for the reason, I guess. So I'm happy with that.
that was good. Like
And,
that's
well, even that trade to Brant though for Antonio Brown and Gronkowski, like that's
oh, yeah.
I probably didn't get enough for that one, but
Yeah. I don't know.
2 guys with 1 year left, I guess.
Yeah, like you
it's fine.
probably didn't because you probably could have held on to them a little longer. But yeah,
Well, Gronk got hurt the next week, right? So he's out.
no, Gronk played 3 weeks
Did he?
Drunk.
and he was good. He scored he has like 4 or 5 touchdowns this season.
Yeah.
He's only played like 3 games.
Yeah, it's true.
But like those are moves that like you at that time, like that's like a no-brainer for you.
Gotta make them.
Yeah. So, and then this, like, yeah, Phil getting Mike Davis. Oh God, rest in peace, Mike Davis. And 22 for Pittman. Like Louis getting Pittman, I think is a big win. Big. I don't know why Phil did that. He needed
sure.
running back, and Mike Davis. You think,
So what was Dan asking for Robinson right now? What's he worth in his eyes?
I mean, probably I'm assuming he's trying to trade him to Brant, but maybe.
Well, I haven't spoken to Dan about James Robinson since week 1.
really,
And week 1, it was Akers in a first.
That- Man, in Acres now, I'll give you some credit, man. Marlon Mack looked decent, and he had an Achilles, so I think
It's
that's probably-
2021, Riley. Technology has
It's
improved. You guys can come
2021.
I don't
back.
know, man. I was big anti Achilles, but I'm on the train that Akers might have a future. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, Henderson's doing really well, and I think Akers proved that he was better than Henderson maybe last year. So
Yeah, I think his bionic leg that they now probably from all that technology that they have.
how about poor
probably gonna go
Saquon
back.
getting rolled up on there?
Oh,
Jeez.
that was brutal.
I
Which
feel
one?
for Riley.
Oh,
Saquon.
yeah, classic. At least it's like it turned out as good as it could. It's like he's going to be out for like 2 weeks. It's a low ankle sprain. Like we've probably all done that before, but yeah, I mean, whatever. It is what it is for me. It's just I don't think I'm meant to have nice rosters, so it's fine. Okay, let's do power rankings because I just want you guys to tell me now how far down my team has fallen from top of the power rankings to whatever, probably not near the top. So what we'll do is we'll do a draft. We haven't randomly determined the order. Actually, I haven't determined the order at all yet. Does anybody really want to pick first? I think first is
I'll pick first.
Okay, yeah, because first is a no-brainer. So we'll let
Yeah.
the rookie go first and pick first.
Okay.
JP,
So like number one pick, like the winner.
yeah, who's the top ranked power ranking in your eyes?
Joel,
Yeah,
in my eyes. Yeah, he's solid. He's got a lot of running backs, a lot of depth.
Let's see.
He's got a good team. And
His
he
receiver-
won last year, right? Didn't he win last year?
Yeah.
Oof, you guys better step
Yeah,
your
and then
game
the
up.
World Division decided to just hand him the
And
Dynasty pot by all folding.
yeah. Joel's team is like his two weaknesses at the start that we all chirped him on were QB and tight end. His tight ends are still trash, or like, I mean, they're okay. Like Henry's probably been better than we thought, but now he's got QB1 Tom Brady, courtesy of yours truly. Like, oh, and now his receiver and Cooper Kupp too. The other big thing that happened with Joel, I think, is like Cooper Kupp has been. I think he's like wide
Lights out.
receiver like 3 or something. Like he's been
Well,
unreal.
And another thing to mention is that we chirped his tight ends, but realistically, no tight end has even had a good season. Like even Travis Kelce has been mediocre the last couple of weeks.
Well, I mean, Travis Kelce has 40 more points than Hunter Henry. So
But Luke, those are the first 3 weeks. Like the last 2 weeks, Kelce hasn't done that much. So I mean, even then, like it's not.
Okay, we're
It's
going
not
to
so-
tight end to see how big of gap there is this year. To see, we're fact checking. Okay, it's not as like it was before though. You got Dawson Knox up there, who I dropped at one point. Also, that was dumb.
but I mean, like you're talking 8 points a game between Hunter Henry and
Yeah.
Travis Kelce.
Yeah,
But Luke, like that was the difference between you being number 1 and him number 4. Well, now that gap like is not as wide for me. Like
Yeah.
that's personally was one of my.
I'm not disagreeing that his team isn't number one. I have him as number one as well, but I think we can all agree that everyone on his roster has outperformed what we had all thought. Like we can look at any other team and there's someone on their starting 8 that we say, oh, they haven't done what we thought they would do, or they haven't met their projections, right? But there's nobody in his lineup really that we could say that about.
You
Yeah,
really wanna
and
play
Henry's
Joel
been
week
unreal.
13. Just I don't know who gets to, but he doesn't have Devontae Adams and Derrick Henry.
Probably me.
Yeah,
Probably pull out a victory.
probably
Yeah.
JP, Dan, or Danny.
I will be
So-
cursing you guys if I win another game this year.
I don't like something would really, crazy have to happen. Like you don't even have anybody that could really put up.
What do you mean? I won the first week of the year.
Yeah, but you had more guys. Like now you literally,
Daniel Jones and was it Marquise Brown, I think, combined for 60 points, and that won me the week.
You have one of your top players is David Njoku, and all of his points are in 1 week.
yeah,
Yes, he was good.
yeah, you. I don't think you have to worry.
Anyway, sorry, let's keep going with
So
the power
so Joel,
rankings.
clear. Everybody agree. Joel's number one. No
Yeah.
dissenting opinions. I will agree with Luke. I think Joel's a luck box. No real injuries. Like he'll say,
I
"Oh,
don't know if
lost
I would say
Derrick
that. He's
Henry."
just had
It's a
like
long season.
it's a long season. I agree, and I think he's just like so far. I mean, it's early too, but things have gone his way. Maybe week 6 is when things start to turn. I mean, Mike Evans, I think, had 3 or 4 points on Thursday night. So maybe this is the week that things start to regress to the mean.
Does he play somebody that? Oh, he plays Paul. He's gonna win anyways. Like, 'cause Paul, yeah, because Brady didn't even have a good game. Like, this is the
No.
week to beat him, and Paul is just gonna toss out Ronald Jones. Like, oh my god. And Juju's hurt. Paul, set your lineup, bud. Like, you gotta have some. Like, Juju's out for the year. Oh, so it's Gabe Davis or James Washington.
Oh, let's go Davis.
God forbid. Okay.
Or we can put in DJ
yeah.
Dallas too, whatever.
Riley's yelling at Paul to set his lineup, but if I recall in 2017 in the toilet bowl, he wasn't so keen on telling Paul to set his lineup when Saquon was on the when Saquon was at the stakes there.
Shots fired.
Oh, well.
Fair enough.
Riley traded Todd Gurley or traded Saquon for Todd Gurley, so we know how that panned out.
God, and then he gets Saquon back when he's dust. And, anyway, Saquon was looking real good before he went down. He was dropping 20s and 30s, and he was back. And then he rolls his ankle fluke on like the first play of the game and puts a 0.9.
Him and George Brittle.
Yeah.
Okay, who's gonna go second? I'll just go up my screen. So we'll go Luke. You can pick second. First was easy. Second's probably a little tough.
Is he gonna do it?
I'm going. I don't really want to do it.
Here.
I'm actually going with your team, Riley. Still.
No, that is wrong.
I had him second as well, actually.
You think? Oh, you had me second. So
I did, yeah.
For me at second, Brant. Who did you have at second?
I had Luke at second.
I had Luke at second too. Okay, well we have a 2-2 tie. That's interesting. But we'll let Luke go first as why I'm second. But
I just think sure, you could look at the rankings right there, and it shows you out of a playoff spot. But it's very, very early. You've had some injuries that, as long as like they can come back as they're projected to come back, I still think you have the depth. And you look at your wide receivers, and you look at the weekly projections, and you often have you have 3 wide receivers that are in the top 12 that are starting every single week, right? So if you can get through the next 3 or 4 weeks, I think your team still is by far one of the best there is. So that's why I had you at number 2. Obviously, it pains me to put you at number 2, but I'm
shocked. I mean, I have the most points for this. Doesn't count because this is like I do have the highest point for in our division through 5 weeks. Joel is the only one was the only one with more.
Yeah,
I also have like crap ton of points against, and I have the tiebreaker against Luke right now. So like I have a couple things going for me, but I've also lost the tiebreaker right now with Brant, lost it with Phil, and have a depleted team. So that would be my argument. My argument against me is like right now Luke's 4. Wow, he's 4-1. I think you'll probably beat Sean this week. It could be close, but I think you'll probably beat Sean. And your points for was just a little below mine. Like we were pretty close. Like there wasn't like I was running your team out of the water. So that to me is why you were number 2. Is I think our teams are pretty close. You have some tailwinds. You got Michael Thomas coming back. Saints offense has been kind of weird, so you don't really know what that is, but it's probably an upgrade over Jacoby Myers. You've been without Calvin Ridley for last week, and then this week he's on a bye. Like, I don't know. I think right now, given where we are, I think if I was betting, I'd rather bet on you, just because you have a bit of that cushion against me. Like I can't afford to lose many more games in the next couple of weeks, and we've seen that happen. So that's why I had Luke number 2. Brant, you had Luke number 2, and then we'll let JP close it off as why he thought I was maybe number 2. But I'll let you go, Brant.
Yeah, Luke was the obvious choice for number 2. And it's by like a large margin. I think Joel and Luke they're on a tier of their own. I mean, Riley, yeah, you've had some injuries and maybe some bad luck, but yeah, Luke is definitely number 2. I mean, his roster is still well balanced. He still had like there's not one position that's weak at all. And he's like you said, he might be probably gonna be 5-1 by the end of the week.
I disagree with you there. Luke is definitely not in his tier of his own. Luke and like Phil, you, me, I think it's all one big messy.
100%. I agree with that.
Because Luke, once you have buys, like buys are starting now, and like a lot of these teams, not necessarily Luke's, but even like Phil, like there'll be a lot of teams that like are going to start to hurt a bit with buys that maybe aren't quite ready for buys. So I think like the next weeks will be interesting. There's a lot of luck involved with like when your buys fall. Like if your buys fall when you play JP or your buys fall when you play Danny, like you're going to be feeling pretty good. But like, you know, that's what I think is going to decide this. But I think Luke's number 2, but I don't think it's a big tier gap. JP, you had me number 2. Anything to add why I was number 2, or did you just pull that out of your behind?
It might have been quickly picked, but go back to your roster there for a second. Like I think about like making the playoffs and I think you can. It's obviously not a given in that division, but you know, you get a healthy Saquon and you know, DeAndre Swift, if he keeps catching as many balls as he has, you know what, Tyreek Hill can go off for 40 points in a week, any week, right? Stephon Diggs has not been playing up to his par. You know, Amari Cooper, well, he's kind of here nor there, right? Like he'll have a big week and a poor week as well, same as Lockett. But I know we talk about having those big swings in points, but I think when one of those guys out of those 3 or 2 of those 3 guys have those big weeks and that other guy doesn't, that's still those 2 guys getting 40 points is going to win you that week.
Yeah. And Diggs, I would be shocked if he doesn't have a way better, like his underlying usage hasn't really changed. He's just,
yeah. And also we've seen Luke in the playoffs and the last couple of years there, his team just wants to give up on him come the end anyway. So
the intangibles aren't quite there, I guess. Okay.
Yeah,
I like that.
the team isn't buying in completely. So
that's right.
Hopefully I can make a couple, I think maybe why I put myself lower as well is like I'm in my own, like I live in my head and I know like I'll sell whoever the hell I'll just unload a player and so I look at my roster and I'm like, well, that won't be what my roster's in a few weeks anyways too, right? So but that requires someone being willing to trade too on the other side. So we'll see what shakes out.
Well, now that Zach Ertz on a new team, you can afford to trade me, Kelsey. Like Zach
Yeah.
Ertz is gonna be a beast now.
Come back with a reasonable offer and we'll make it happen.
Yeah, I don't think I have the energy to do something before tomorrow. So
Just
we'll
add
have
in
to
that
see if I
token
get
3rd
through-
round pick.
get through this week. Okay, so look, I think then logically, Brant. Okay,
Just
so
go to
let's
number
just think
4.
about this. So Luke picked me. So technically, I'm number 2 in the power rings, whether me and Brant like it or not. So presuming then, Brant, you're gonna pick Luke at number 3. Are you gonna change it up and toss yourself ahead of Luke?
Hell no.
Okay, so Luke's number 3. So Brant, your pick kind of just got washed over there, but that's
Oh.
fine.
You can pick 4.
Okay, you could pick 4. That's fine.
Okay, this one is future considerations.
Like it.
And I mean, it's kind of based on which division he's in as well. I'm going to pull a page of your guys' playbook from last time. But yeah, basically, I mean, I realize that his running back depth is not there with all the injuries. But I mean, but his receivers depth is pretty big. Like he's got 6 guys he could start any given week. And he's got multiple tight ends he can start any given week as
He's
well.
got the best tight end depth for sure.
Yeah, but you look
And
at those
Lamar
wide
Jackson.
receivers. Like I kind of wince at those wide receivers just because how many of those guys have had good seasons or starts to the season. I know you look at the points on the right, but when Cordero Patterson, that's kind of a crapshoot there. But Woods hasn't had a great year, and you know AJ Brown's been injured and not playing well, and Godwin, he's kind of inconsistent right now. Still consistent, but not getting those big weeks. But
Yeah.
he's got a
I agree, but I think we have like I at least 100% agree with Brant. I actually had I had myself ranked 4th, and I had future considerations ranked 3rd, and that's, I mean, we look at the division. I mean, we can guarantee that he's going to be in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like he is going to be 2 games away from the finals. And yeah, he's had some injury concerns earlier in the season right now, and with Chubb out this week. But you can book it that he'll be there in the quarters at the very least. So I don't know. I think that's worth a lot when we start to get into some of these Dauphin teams, and that there's 5 of us really fighting for 3 spots. So
yeah, I think I had Adam third too, based on that argument. Exactly. It's just easy. Like Adam's got no stress. Neither does Joel. I mean, like, must be nice. Like, honestly, must be really nice.
Yeah.
And,
I just like, I just think back to last year, and I mean, I was sitting on this podcast and whether it was Dan or Riley or Brant saying like, oh, no one trade with Luke. We don't want him to win the dynasty pot. And then fast forward 1 year, and 3 of the teams just completely fold shop. And they're just like, sure, Joel, just here you go. Here's just take it.
Joel wouldn't trade for me, just saying.
Hey, that was after 1 week. I thought I was just fleecing him. And then...
I would have gladly traded him Josh Allen if he would have responded to text. So whatever.
In Joel's defense, and this is now public news, actually, I think I saw a Facebook post today. He's having twins, so he's like stressed out, I think.
Yeah, that would.
You're like Schefter.
So, like,
you're breaking news. You're breaking news.
It's like, don't, like, it's not personal. I think he's got a new dog. He's having twins. Like, he's got a lot of stuff going on that he's probably...
3 months. 3 months, Riley. Come on, Joel.
And he's trying to. Well, he's trying to win a dynasty pot, and he's not even like. And he's just putting in mediocre work, and he's going to win the dynasty pot. And that boils down to JP, Dan, and Danny. I'm not taking any onus on that, even if I trade him Kelsey.
What do you mean? I haven't even given him anybody. How can you blame me? You guys are chirping.
Because you have 11 active players on your roster, and you're in the same division. That's why.
Just wait till tomorrow. Hopefully, I'll have 12 or 13 by then.
So then running through, then we have Joel, me, controversy, like asterisk, Luke at 3, Adam at 4, although a lot of us think that Adam could be 3. So there's a lot of like dissenting opinions, which is good. Like in the preseason, everyone just was agreeing. It was pretty boring. So so I'm on the clock at 5. So I guess it's between, well, I guess not. It's obviously a Dauphin division team. Yeah, this is hard. Well, actually, it's not Prestige. Like, Prestige is a pretender right now. 577 points for Russell.
W's, that's all that matters, man.
Yeah, but one of those W's is like a fake W against Luke that he's not even going to win right now. So it's not Prestige. I'm taking out Prestige. Kamara hasn't been the regular Kamara, I don't think.
What do you mean you don't think? Like you don't know? Like
no, like he hasn't been
sure.
the Alvin Kamara. No, like, I know, like, he hasn't been. That one game he didn't get a target. That never has happened. Wait, Luke, you owned Kamara forever. Was there ever a game where
he never got a target?
Never got one target 2 games ago. Not one target. Was there ever a game when you owned Kamara that he probably got less than 5 targets? Like, he always was catching.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't know that. I just saw him. I just, like, as you were scrolling, I saw, like, 87. I mean, he's still got 87 points.
Yeah, but like, I don't know, like these type of things.
Only one touchdown, one rushing touchdown. How many receiving touchdowns do you have on the year?
I don't know. I
agree. It's between the other 2 Dauphin teams.
Okay, so it's between the other 2. Now, Brant's on the call, so I can't roast him too hard. But he's also, when you look at the points for, I mean, a little lower.
I've been more decimated with injuries than anybody, I think, this season.
Agreed.
So.
Also, Phil put up 215 last week. So.
Yeah. So look, between Phil and Brant, you could go either way. I'm going to go the way of Phil. And the reason being, McCaffrey, I thought he was going to be back this week. I mean, he practiced last week. All the thing was going to be good. Like, he's not going to play last week, but he's going to play this week. Then all of a sudden, like, he doesn't practice Friday. They say his hamstring was acting up a bit, and now he's out. Hamstrings, like, those are the things that can just, like Corey Davis's rookie year had a hamstring injury like the whole year, and he sucked. And, like, yes, CMC is way better than Corey Davis, but if you have a hamstring all year and you can't count on him, when you don't have much depth at running back, no offense, Brent, but you're Felton and Bolden don't inspire a lot of confidence.
Oh, I
Hey,
don't
Riley.
disagree.
Riley, are you getting a new Corey Davis jersey for Christmas this year or what?
He's the only guy from my original team, and I just
I seem to hear a lot about him on here.
because of that. I just refuse to, because he's the only guy from my original squad. I just can't. I can't quit him. Anyways, Phil. Okay, the big reason I really like Phil's team is the whole Herbert Mike Williams thing. I think the Chargers I think their coach is super sharp. They run a ton of plays. Herbert's like really good. Williams has had a breakout year. I think that's going to continue. Like, I think Herbert's a guy you can just count on, kind of like Mahomes and Josh Allen, for like 25 points. You can kind of just lock it in, and there's potential for more. And then he's got the whole Cook Madison thing, which is awesome. Like, the fact that when Cook's out, you can just slot in Madison and basically get the exact same production. Like, that's super helpful. And he can combine that with Jonathan Taylor, who kind of had a bit of a breakout last week. So, like, I like his situation there. And Fournette's been surprisingly good recently too.
Very good, yeah.
And then the one thing that pushes it over the top, like, his receivers are pretty mediocre, and he doesn't have a lot of depth, and that's the weakness. Like, come bye weeks, you're gonna have some issues. And like, I have the same worry with Lockett that he probably has with Metcalf, is like, Geno looked okay, but like Metcalf and Lockett both get a decrease in value, like, without Russell Wilson. So, but the one thing that he's really got going for him, I think, is Goddard. Like, now that Ertz is gone, like, Goddard's been pretty good even with Ertz there. I think with Ertz gone, like, Goddard's pretty likely a top 6 tight end rest of the year. Like, he's a lot easier to count on, I think, going forward. So I don't know. It's close between Phil and Brant for me, but I'm gonna go Phil at 5. So we'll go back to JP before we talk about the other one, let's let JP pick, because I'm assuming JP's probably going to pick Brant's team next.
Yeah, I might as well. I'm not exactly sure where Brant guys right now, but you guys are doing a great job. So, yeah, what can we say about Brant's team? Yeah, Prescott hasn't really. They're running the ball a lot more, so hasn't been all that spectacular the last few weeks. But yeah, running back depth kind of scary there, especially with McCaffrey out for another week here for sure. And Eckler's, he hasn't been the most healthy guy either, so hard to say there. But I'm sure Brant's going to have a couple trades coming his way here right away. Like, we had talked, was it last week, Brant, about, I can't remember why, but I was like, well, you want to trade somebody, or maybe Latavius Murray, I can't remember. But I was like, you need a running back, right? I'm trying to sell off every kind of piece I have. And he's like, nah, I'll get through these next couple of weeks. I got you and I got Danny. And, so he's trying to make it through these injuries, but he's going to have to pull the trigger here soon, I think, to try to keep those wins coming, or else you lose a couple of games in that division, it's going to change quick. So I think
Bill this week, Brant, though.
Yeah, so he's running out of time here.
Bill,
So,
and Lenny put up 30 points on Thursday night. So,
like, what do you have left for draft picks, Brant? Like, you got a first left, don't you? And you got Akers sitting there. So I don't know.
Yeah.
well, Brant and I are already in conversations, JP. Don't
Luke did send a message today, and I mean, it did pique my interest a little bit. So it's not completely off the table, Luke. I'll say that at least.
Yeah.
But anyways,
Jones time?
But yeah, JP is exactly right. Like, I just tried to get through these last 2 weeks, and luckily I played JP and Dan.
Right.
So that's why I was like, you know what, I'm not going to be desperate. Somehow I won last week. I don't know how, but anyways, I had Phil way ahead of me. So this is the correct order. I actually had Wickens ahead of me too, because of McCaffrey injury. I'm ranked 7 and he's ranked 6.
Yeah, you know what? But like, to Brant, your team has been, like you said, has been, especially at the running back position. I mean, going back to the start of the year, Akers is on your taxi squad, but I mean, the intention, obviously, I'm sure, was that starting this year that you were going to have him available, right? And starting the year with that, and then everything else that has come with it, with McCaffrey, and then trading for James White, and then that happening as well. You've definitely had the injury bug for sure. So I think your team, in terms of starting lineup, if everyone in your starting lineup is healthy, your team is just as good as anyone's. But it's just a matter of you've had those injuries, and I mean, with McCaffrey now on the IR, is it 3 I don't know when the bye week is, but actually I don't think it matters. I think it's 3 games. Yeah. Okay. So it's 3
Yeah.
games no matter what.
I think
So-
he's
Except
eligible to
week
come back
9.
now, right? Like,
No,
where's he?
No,
they
I
just put him
think
off?
he just got put on the IR this
Oh,
I
like
didn't know
today.
that. Oh,
Yeah,
this-
today he did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's
out on the
he's out for
mountain.
another. So he's out for 3 weeks starting today. So
I know a good guy for you, Brant. We can chat later, but
all
Don't do
right,
it, Brent.
Riley. This isn't your personal spew podcast here. This is
anyways, just flashing those, Brant. If you okay, so did anybody have Sean ranked ahead of Brant? I guess would be the line.
I did.
Okay, you did, but you and Luke like never like to rank yourself so high, so that doesn't count. I don't think, Brant. Okay, Luke, you're next. You're on the clock. Number
it's-
7, I think.
Yep, number 7, and it's who I have ranked 7, and I mean it's the only other team that I think has a chance of actually winning this year, and it's Prestige Worldwide. And I mean, you look at his team, and he could like, I mean, Dawson Knox has been really good. I think Dawson Knox has more points than Stephon Diggs actually this
Yeah.
year.
But he's had like his targets have not like the one thing is like when you
Jesus,
look
look
at
at
that
that.
target thing, like that isn't super sustainable. Like
Yeah, so imagine if he got more targets. I mean, he would be like 30 points more than. Is that what you're saying, Riley?
5 touchdowns, like that's not sustainable.
Yeah, for sure. No, but you look at, I mean, he's got receivers. He's had injuries as well that he's had to deal with, and Allen Robinson hasn't been the Allen Robinson that I don't think any of us would have expected, unfortunately. But Jalen Hurts, I think you can. I don't know. Watching Thursday night playing Sean this week and watching him run 2 touchdowns in was a little bit frustrating, but he's a pretty, yeah. You have it pulled up there. He's got over 20 points every single week. I think
I didn't know
going into this week, I think he was QB5 or QB6 he's been a QB1 every single week.
This is
So
fine. He's like classic, really bad real QB and like really good.
Fancy.
yeah, like, and I don't know what the hell they're doing. He has, or he had 12 completions. Okay, 26 attempts,
26
but
attempts.
yeah, but I mean, he's from a fantasy standpoint, he's doing exactly what you would hope he's going to be doing, right? So with having Russ go out, he's been able to, this week is the first week, but he's been able to plug him in and be just as productive. So
Yeah.
there's definitely a chance. I wouldn't be overly surprised if Sean was able to sneak into the playoffs, and we've all seen that what can happen when you sneak into the playoffs more often. I mean, in the history of our league, it hasn't been the 1 seed that's won. So
Yep. Anybody have like nobody had one of the other world teams ranked up? I don't think, right? Yeah. I think it's pretty obvious. Honestly, I think I gave Sean a bit too hard a time. Like he is probably, I agree that like he's definitely right there for a playoff spot. And like when you roll out Zeke and Kamara and, Thielen still, he's old, but he still can find the end zone. Like for sure he can beat anybody on any given week. Like I play Prestige next week and like it's going to be a really important game. And like I'm not feeling confident about it. So man, who plays Sean week 14? Like, is Russ still out? Sean, you're going to need a QB, bud.
no, Russ is
Yeah.
back.
Look at
Hit
this.
Russ
up
is
JP
back.
for quarterbacks.
Russ is back. Okay, Luke said it. Russ is back, our resident
Book it.
expert. So, okay, we're good. Okay, so team 8 then is Brant. You get to pick. I mean,
Yeah, and again, it's pretty obvious. But if Louis had a good quarterback, then this might be a debate. But just because of the quarterback difference, I'm giving it to Paul. Because he's in the crap division.
yeah. Does everyone rank Louis higher than Paul?
Or Paul higher.
I don't know,
than Louis, you
but
mean?
if you guys are talking about making the playoffs and actually taking a run at it, why wouldn't Paul have a better chance than Louis?
Yeah, no, but Brant picked Paul, right?
Yeah, but you
Oh,
said
yeah.
Louis higher than Paul.
Yeah, did anybody rank like
Oh, okay, yeah, no.
No. Yeah. I mean, Paul just limps into the playoffs and then is going to get decimated by whoever is his number 2 in our division.
Yeah, but
That's
he's got the most
He'll probably
frustrating
beat me
quarterback in the
again in
league.
the quarters.
He's got the most frustrating quarterback in the league, Kyler Murray. Every year I play Kyler Murray in any league, it seems like he just goes off and I think I was playing against him last year when he threw that Hail Mary to DeAndre Hopkins, and it was just like, what the heck's going on here, right? So like, and that kind of reminds me of Jalen Hurts as well. It doesn't really look like they're all that amazing, but next thing you know, they're putting up points like nuts, and it's just super frustrating. But anyway,
Just you heard that here first. Kyler Murray and Jalen Hurts got lumped together. JP. Kyler Murray's is good. Like Jalen Hurts is like objectively, I don't think very.
I'm just
good.
talking about the points wise. Like,
Points-wise.
did you think that, like, if we were talking before this podcast, would Jalen Hurts be a top 5 quarterback to you right now? Like,
No.
right.
That's
Well,
crazy.
Yeah, I knew it because I have him on another fantasy team. So
Yeah. So Paul's team, not much going for Paul. He's got some injuries. Made one trade, which is good, but refuses to entertain other offers. He's just happy getting third in his division and getting booted in the first. So that's that, Paul. Okay, we're gonna keep this going because the end of it, I mean, it's getting pretty bleak now. We're getting into the bottom of the league here. So I'm gonna pick 9, and it's Louis. Louis couldn't, like, if Louis beats me this week, like he could figure out a way to be in the playoffs. Like there's still a chance. Like he's got a pretty decent roster. I mean, besides the fact that you're starting Big Ben Roethlisberger, I mean, other than that, it's not.
He has his first this year still, right?
Yeah, I think
He
so.
just got it
Or
back.
no, he got it back. That was
Yeah.
another trade that
He has no
probably-
interest in making the playoffs this year.
Yeah, because he'll probably beat you, JP. No offense, in the toilet bowl. Like Louis probably will.
Like I said, I'm going for second place.
Yeah.
So
Second
that's
pick.
right, Louis. Okay, so Louis doesn't have, but he could, even if he doesn't want to. I mean, sometimes Louis and Adam are teams. Start your best player. So like Louis gonna put his best team out there and
Right.
see what happens. And I really hope he doesn't beat me this week. But if he does, he could sneak in there.
He could. And I mean, like looking at his team and probably the next team, hopefully consensus that we'll all talk about. They both have teams that, I mean, with very little capital, they could turn their team into something that they're moving up on the board, whether it's division related or not. Right. So
Is anybody buying Melvin Gordon right now? No. Okay. I'd try to sell him anyway, but
I wouldn't. I mean, I have Javonte, right? And Javonte is clear. Like when you actually watch the games, like Javonte breaks off like a 50-yard run each game, and they still split it right down the middle with Melvin Gordon. But like you'd think and Melvin Gordon's been he has a bunch of like nagging injuries too. Like I'd probably be the most logical person to trade for Melvin Gordon, but like I won't touch that. I think that's like a sinking ship. And
I'm not saying Louis would trade him anyway, but maybe
Oh, he would.
Brant needs a rental for a week here.
Fournette scored
There's-
30 points. So even if I had a healthy McCaffrey,
there's
that'd be a
cheaper.
tough
Yeah.
trade.
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
yeah, Louis
There's
will
cheaper
probably wanna
10-point per game options.
he still has he does have Ben, but yeah, if you pulled up Tua or Trevor Lawrence, and they're probably better. Obviously they're better than Ben. So
Ben, I guess Trevor has a little bit more points, but not really.
yeah. Trevor Lawrence had a tough start to the year. He's throwing a ton of picks. He's got Urban Meyer. That's just
Urban's gone soon.
Urban's
Surely.
gotta be gone soon.
He's got to be gone soon.
That video was hilarious.
Like
We can't talk about that on this. We're gonna get banned.
no, that's just a football podcast, and we talk about Urban Meyer. What a knucklehead! The first coach. What was it, Tony Dungy? That's like saying like I've been a coach forever, and like I always fly back with my team. And here's Urban Meyer staying back and like having some girl grinding up on him. And
I think wasn't he putting his hand somewhere they weren't
yeah,
supposed to?
yeah, for sure he was. Like Barstool, I saw like
Oh, that's awesome.
zoom in on where his hand.
Yeah, not
What's he doing, right?
not the
Like,
best look for a husband.
No, definitely not. I know, Brant, haven't got, not proposing yet, but like when you do get married, Brant, like don't do that. That's not
you definitely don't do that.
definitely don't do that. Okay, so enough about Urban Meyer. I think we all agree probably should be fired. Probably should have been fired already.
for other reasons besides the whole bar incident.
Yeah. I mean, he literally said that they would rather have Kadarius Toney than Travis Etienne, like right after they drafted the guy. Like, what a
Well,
dagger.
who's got more points though, right? Like, who's the better player?
Okay,
Well,
but
and like I mean, him and Trevor Lawrence now are like they're doing pressers right after one another and saying the exact opposite. Like Urban Meyer saying like, "Oh yeah, Trevor's not comfortable running the ball," and Trevor's like, "Well, no, I am comfortable running the ball." Like,
Oh God.
that's just a train wreck. And
yeah,
like when you get fired, okay, side note, like, so John Gruden got like resigned. Like, does John Gruden still get all those millions? Because he had like a 10-year deal.
Well, I
He
mean,
resigned.
I'm sure there was a deal under the table.
Yeah.
Like they probably forced him to resign.
Oh, because he resigned, he didn't get fired.
Yeah.
But if you get fired, you still get all your money.
Oh, you get all your money. I'm sure the coaches are guaranteed.
you think so?
I think the coaches are
Urban got a
guaranteed.
bag of money too when he joined Jacksonville. Like, he's just gonna, he's probably planned this. Like, go get my bag of money, do something really stupid, get fired.
Get fired,
But
then go to USC
He'll
and
get paid more
yeah.
at USC probably anyways than Jackson.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you're right.
Man,
He will.
That's the dream. That's okay. Next up is it me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gotta be Dan. 5-year plan. Yeah, like Dan's receiving core, and we've said this, like Dan's receiving core is really good. DJ Moore's been unreal this year. Deontay Johnson, T. Higgins, and like all of this to be said, like Jerry Jeudy will be coming back soon too. So I don't know, like Dan's receiving core in itself seems to put up close to 100 points a game. So he seems to be fighting for wins each week. Honestly, like last week, I knew Brant had the miracle comeback, but like
I was disappointed in that, Brant.
that was crazy. Like I was disappointed too. No offense, Brant. I mean, I
Mhm.
like you and all, but like I would have rather have Dan beat you for sure.
Oh,
Me
well,
too.
I already put the loss in the column too. Don't worry
Yeah.
about it.
So like Dan's team could compete for wins, and like Dan's team, right now is better than Paul's team, I think.
Mhm.
So
We'll go down to his taxi squad there a bit and let's see who he's got hanging out there.
it's got a lot hanging out there.
He's got a lot hanging
Well,
out
he's
there,
got
and I mean, he has
Chuba.
Dobbins waiting for him next year, and
He's got Chuba
Yeah.
on there right now too.
I
Like,
mean,
he could be winning
honestly,
leagues
like
as well.
his wide receiver, like you look at his wide receivers, and I mean, aside from Riley's, I don't know, like there's very few teams, and Adams. But aside from those two teams, like there's probably not too many teams that would say, let's just swap all of my receivers for all of your receivers. And in terms of a value, like valuation wise, his receivers are there, right? So
And they're young. Like,
I don't
those
know.
guys are all
Dan's
26 years old. Like,
Dan's always playing chess while it feels like we're all playing checkers. So I feel like I don't know, we could be talking in 3 weeks, 4 weeks time, and we've moved him up ahead of Paul or something. It wouldn't shock me one bit.
Except in the draft. I mean, Dan's playing like, I don't know, snakes and ladders when we're all like, he's drafting Trey Sermon. Like, I chirped him hard on draft night. Dan's like, oh no. And
Or Keyshawn.
he's just the king of overdrafting the first round running back.
Mhm.
And like, that's just what's holding him back. Just wasting those valuable picks. So like the thing is with Dan, he's got all these picks and all this stuff, but like I'm not worried because the dude can't draft. Like he's gonna draft the running back that like that's no good. So the only way I'll be nervous is if Dan starts trading all those picks, and because if he's drafting, like you're not worried at all.
yeah, when he's got 10 picks in the first 20, you think he's going to hit a couple of times, though, right?
I don't know, JP. I mean, his track record is not great right now.
Well, a lot of people's track records aren't very good. Or Luke doesn't have one. Brant, how's your first round draft pedigree
Not
going?
great.
Right.
Well,
It's-
I mean, but like to be fair to Dan, I think he drafted Nick Chubb, but then he traded him the next week during Riley's wedding
To me for Doug Baldwin.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And then what?
so I mean, that was a good pick, but
I traded Chubb to Riley for Aaron Jones and Calvin Ridley.
that's a good trade for you.
Wow.
And then you probably traded Aaron Jones and
Let's not talk about that one.
yeah.
That driving salesman again.
Okay, so consensus: Dan team better than Danny and JP, and potentially better than Paul. But also consensus: bad at drafting first round running backs. So probably should not do that. Okay, so JP, you get to pick number 11.
Number 11. Okay, well, I'm going with me for number 11.
You're going with you?
Just because I can't be last. Let's be real here.
You can be last.
You are,
Yeah, and you are
The
last.
Commissioner veto. You are last.
Okay. Let's talk about the Sisler football team.
Best team name. I'll give them that. I love the Sisler football team.
What was it before again?
You know what? It's engraved on the trophy, so Luke's probably the best one.
It's that in my it's for 2 years. It's been in my house. Actually, only 1 year since he won it, but yeah.
That's awesome.
I just love that his team, he did it, changed it to Sisler football team after like his team was like controversial. That's what makes it so good.
Didn't he had when he won the championship, it was basically Antonio Brown, right? Like he had like 40 some points in the final for him.
Paul Rudolph caught
sure.
a Hail Mary. Somebody else that really got it. I was playing against him. He had like the best week like of his life that week too. Yeah.
On the week before against me in the semis, I don't want to talk about it.
Oh yeah, you lost by 0.4 or something.
Oh, when Zeke was on
like,
the rushing to the end zone and he got out of bounds at the 2 or something like that.
Yeah, and like Kamara, his last run of the game, it got called back or just ridiculous shit. But
I hope I never have to go through that. I won't come out of it. I don't think. That's
no.
Well, you're getting close, Riley. You made the playoffs last year, so you're getting there.
Got dummied. Anyways, okay. Danny's team better than JP's team, clearly. Yeah, I mean, it's still not great. Like, let's not give him too much credit. Like, it's not great, pretty ugly. But he does got Mark Andrews, who tossed up like a 40-pointer. So I'm more scared if I play Danny. Like, I think I could lose to Danny. I don't think I could lose to JP. And I think that's you're good. That's good for you, JP. Because like I literally think like nothing could happen for like any of us three on this podcast to lose to you. Like it'd be really hard, I think.
Well, I beat Dan to start the season, didn't I?
Yeah, but like a lot has changed since then.
Yeah, no, fair enough. No, I'm definitely last place, and there's a reason for that.
And it's look at this squad. He's got like he's got Brashad Perriman's not even a starting, like he hasn't started a game. Yeah, he's got 0 points. So he shows up as active, but he's not really.
11 total players.
Yeah. You got some good, like, look, man, you got like these two guys are good. I still like Denzel Mims, Burrow. You got some, you're looking up. And Marlon Mack apparently might get traded somewhere. So you might have to move him because if he goes to Kansas City, he'll be too good for your team, JP.
Well, Mark Ingram's still there, guys. Come on.
Does Mark Ingram touch the ball?
He had 16 points first
since week 1. Yeah.
4, 2, 3, 5.
Look at his attempts. 16 attempts last week, though. That's nice.
26 attempts the first week. Holy
yeah, they won
shit.
that game. Yeah.
16 for 41. No receptions. Brutal.
Tough.
Yeah. Anyway, no, like we all know, my team is what it is. I've just been trying to get pieces for the rebuild and to make sure I'm getting the best draft pick I can this year. It was never in my mind to get the number 1 overall pick. It was to get number 2 and not get number 6, I guess, if I didn't get one of the 2 bottom spots. So
yeah, and that was your suggestion, JP. That number 6.
I like the idea of it.
It is a good. I like the idea too. But
it just gives guys something to play for, and that's kind of what I enjoy is fantasy football or whatever. And having these extra weeks on there is nice. So
yeah, it was a good idea. It's just funny it could have backfired completely on you.
It still could, right? Like it's not saying I don't win a week here somewhere somehow.
Yeah, you you played Dan, but you beat Dan, but you lost to Danny, right? Is that right?
I'm playing Dan this week, and I beat Danny.
Okay.
Yeah, so I need to lose to Dan this week, and that's why I was hoping Brant was going to lose, so that Sisler had another win there. So didn't work out in my favor.
Dan cannot end up with like the first overall. I guess. I mean, Louis' pick will probably be the first overall pick, but
who has
Dan
Louis?
cannot end up with like the first overall pick, like Danny's pick, like that. That cannot happen.
That would be bad, yeah. for everybody. So, JP, I'm rooting for you. I'm rooting
Thanks,
for you to
guys.
get last. You got 353 points for. Clearly.
I'm not playing very good defense either, so it's good.
Yeah, my team's the only defense that I think is worse than yours. Like,
Future considerations by a point or two, but whatever.
yeah, my defense is leaky. It's not like Prestige or Joel. Of course, Joel. Like absolute talks too. I mean, he's got the most points for, but like just the softest schedule. Everything's going Joel. Everything.
Oh, just wait till
Yeah.
December rolls around. Just
Yeah.
wait.
Karma. Okay. All right. Look, I think that's a good place to call her, unless anybody has a surprise that they want to chat about. For people, I don't know if this was before we started recording. Probably. If anybody's actually made it this far, I might be. Maybe I won't post this in the WhatsApp group just to see if anybody's listening. There will be a change to the waivers. There will be, starting next week, we'll run waivers twice, the same on Sunday that we're currently doing, and then probably like Thursday morning. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to post the link once I get this all uploaded to YouTube and whatever, and I'll probably put in there a little line like, if you make it to the end, there's a special important message, and then we'll get a lot more views. The algorithm will bump us to like the top of YouTube, and yeah, we'll get a lot more engagement that way. So that's
We should get a GoFundMe page going for Riley to get a Corey Davis jersey though. I think that would be nice.
Corey Davis. I can't quit him, man. And I really thought Zach Wilson was the answer. Clearly, he's not.
Clearly.
Yeah. Anyways, Luke's tried to pry him out of my cold dead hands, but hasn't been able to yet. So
What?
you've tried to get Corey Davis as like not the main piece, but like in those Kelsey deals, it's always like, oh, maybe you add Corey Davis. I'm like, no.
How about no?
I don't think there's ever been a time where Corey Davis has been a sticking point, but
Not a sticking point, but it's always like, yeah, maybe Corey Davis could be the guy. I'm like, Luke, no, just stop.
Maybe you should let him go, Riley.
I can't. Do any of like, you guys don't have a player that you've like drafted for the whole
Michael Thomas, he's the only guy left on my roster.
There you go.
Yeah. I got Brandon Cooks. That's it.
Did you got anybody?
Yeah, probably not. I only got 11 players. I got neither from the start. Who
Yeah.
do I got there?
You definitely didn't draft
Oh.
any of those guys.
No. So you don't have that. You still got free agent Todd Gurley. Just
Yeah,
I
you
think-
got Todd Gurley though. I
Yeah.
mean, he like there was a time not too long ago that he was worth like Saquon plus. So
Well,
Yeah.
Dalvin Cook plus though. What did Dalvin go for this year? 6 firsts?
no, not
4.
4? Yeah, exactly.
yeah, but I give up Saquon plus for Todd Gurley, so that's
I think we need to have a podcast with kind of going back to that first draft and just kind of ranking where, like, seeing where guys ended up, and it's always interesting to look back to see what how it
just do a
started off.
sneak preview. Just a quick.
I think Matt Forte was like my top running back.
This is it.
Odell number 1. That's interesting to see. David Johnson.
Colonel. Oh, this is you, JP, right? You were Colonel Angus.
Yeah.
What does that even mean? Is that-
It's a Saturday Night Live thing. They're all from like the deep south,
Oh,
and
okay,
they're
I get it now. I didn't
kind
get it
of
at
Angus.
first. Yeah, I get it. David Johnson. I traded up to get David Johnson.
Look at those names, eh? Devontae Freeman, 111. Jesus.
There's still a couple of these. Like Gronk. Remember that was like what?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
There's some bad.
Jordy Nelson.
Jordy. Oh, those are Paul's first 2 picks. Gronk and Jordy. Oh man. Jay Ajayi. Oh, Jay.
Oh, yeah, that was bad. And look at my next pick too. Brutal. And that's what screwed me from the start.
Crowell. Oh god. And look
This
who
is-
went right after Crowell. Allen Robinson.
Yeah,
To be fair,
look
this
at
was
that.
my first time doing a dynasty draft. So well, I think it's probably a lot of our first times. but
I didn't know what a dynasty league was when I was drafting this.
No,
Like
that was brutal.
Riley conned me into this, and I didn't like. I saw these rookies going off the board. I was like, "Why are these guys going off the board? I haven't even heard of these guys.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
what's
Well,
going on?"
I'm pretty sure Jay Ajayi had a great year the year before, and Crowell was supposed to be behind the best offensive line, and he's supposed to be a good running back, and neither of them panned out at all.
Yeah, like Shady McCoy and then Dalvin Cook. Ooh,
There it is, baby. 3
Corey.
of 9.
Oh,
Corey
that's high.
Davis. Look at
Ty
that.
Montgomery. Look
That
at Ty Montgomery. Jeez Louise.
oh man, Paul just like missed every pick, I think. Like he literally started Gronk, Jordy, and then
Yeah, Ty
Ty
Montgomery.
Montgomery.
Jeez Louise.
And then Terrell Pryor. Oh God.
Jeez.
Okay, what else? Let's just go Paul.
He was just doomed from the start.
Paul Perkins.
Oh,
Holy crap. Tyrell Williams. I mean, he's at least in the league. That's
he's on my team on IR right now.
where's the next? Cam Newton out of the league.
That's all right.
Marshawn Lynch out of the league.
Oh man, isn't it just funny to look back at these names and see?
Kevin White, man, he literally is in round
Man.
9.
Alvin Kamara, 9.07.
The guy hasn't made a trade and he still is like, and we're still talking about him in the playoffs. Like, this
Yeah.
is incredible.
This is a good pick.
Wow, yes.
Yeah.
That's the steal.
Kirk Cousins, JP, Kirk Cousins, 2
Oh
picks.
no.
Alvin Kamara.
Matt Forte.
Matt
before
Forte
Alvin
right
Kamara.
above him.
Danny
Yours
Woodhead.
truly.
That's I took 2 picks right.
Danny Woodhead.
Danny,
Ugh.
holy smokes. Is there any good like
Cooper Cup. Look at Cooper
Oh, I
Cup
got
down there.
Zach Ertz. That's a good one.
Cooper Cup at 10:09.
Yeah.
Danny knew what he was doing.
Then Danny must have traded him. You got Frank the Tank Gore. That's
Ugh, God.
obvious value.
Just the worst team.
I'm looking for any like good Evan Ingram. Oh, Dan got him. Dan must have just picked all the rookies. Laquan. Oh,
Robbie.
Robbie, there you go. Burkhead.
Jamal Williams.
There you go. He's a rookie at that point.
Jeez.
Yeah. Oh, McFadden. That was you, JP. Nice.
Free agent.
I was bad. Sorry. It's not
Man,
good.
Lockett. That was
Lockett.
a good
Boy,
pick.
yeah, look
Conner.
at that.
Look at Connor right there, though. That was Brant.
Yeah.
My only good pick.
Holiday. That was me. Yeah. There we go. He's not even that good anymore, but at the time that was a good. Oh, Juju. That's what saved Paul. Getting Juju in the 14th was only.
Does he still have Juju? Yeah.
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 I mean, it kind of sucks.
I think I've tried to trade for him like a couple of years ago, and he just would not let go of anybody.
Oh, you had Chris Carson as a rookie, G.
I traded him for Gronkowski. I gave a first and Carson for Gronkowski. And they
God,
retired the next year.
Man, my draft was pretty good. Like if I would have just
Patrick Mahomes,
uh,
2 down.
Holy.
Tyler Boyd, that was a good pick. Still valuable. Jay Cutler. It's crazy, like these names. Oh, Josh
Right.
Gordon. Hey, Josh Gordon, full circle. You're back on my
Full
squad.
circle.
Man,
My
I
God.
paid a first rounder for Chris Thompson. He was 1806. How bad am I?
He's having a good year, and I mean, but yeah, That's great.
But yeah,
Robert Woods. That's a good one.
Holy.
I remember Rico Gallers. I always thought he was just going to be unreal, and he never was. Well,
right on.
there we go. We did a quick scan through. A lot of mistakes were made on draft night, but oh, here.
Look at that, Rico.
Huge steal in the 20th. And I quote,
6'6", 300 pounds, man. I think that's
Jeez.
Rico. Anyways, okay. That's the end of the podcast. Tune in later sometime and we'll have another one. JP, thanks for joining us. You're just a class act, full of knowledge, full of insight. And I think we can all agree that you've made some good moves, and you shouldn't be in hot water from the league. So
well, it's about time. Like, it seems like every episode I'm getting ripped apart for trying to make the playoffs. And goodness.
hold on to hope. It's
Hey,
not-
you got a chance. You make the playoffs, right?
Yeah, no, making the playoffs is fun. I've done it once, and it did feel nice. So
Gives you that 1 week of feeling good about yourself.
yeah, it really gives your life a bit of purpose for that 1 week, and then